You're scrolling through your feed again. Everyone's there. Everyone's sharing. Vacation photos, random thoughts, filtered smiles, small victories. And you? You're watching. Always watching. Your thumb hovers over the comment box, then pulls away. You think about posting something, anything, but the words feel too heavy, too exposed, too much. So you close the app. Again. And somewhere deep inside, you wonder if anyone notices that you were never really there at all. There's a particular kind of invisibility that comes with silence in a world that never stops talking. It's not that you have nothing to say. It's that saying it feels like stepping naked into a crowded room where everyone's already dressed, already comfortable, already belonging to a conversation you can't quite enter. So you stay quiet, you stay hidden, and the silence becomes a second skin. Let me tell you about Maya. She's in her late 20s, works in marketing, has close friends, laughs easily in person, but online, she's a ghost. She has accounts, sure. She scrolls daily. She sees her college roommate's engagement photos, her cousin's promotion, her high school friend's new baby. She even likes some of them, but she never posts. Not her thoughts, not her face, not her life. When friends ask why, she shrugs and says she's private. But late at night, when she's alone, she knows it's something else. It's the fear that if she shows up fully, she'll be measured, judged, found lacking, that her life, in its ordinary beauty, won't be enough. This is not about being introverted. This is not about preferring real life to digital performance. This is about something quieter, something that lives in the nervous system. It's about the brain's ancient alarm bells ringing every time you think about being seen. Because being seen means being vulnerable, and vulnerability, to a part of you that learned long ago to protect itself, feels like danger. Psychologically, this silence often begins in childhood. Maybe you grew up in a home where your voice didn't feel safe, where speaking up led to dismissal, criticism, or conflict, where it was easier to stay small than to risk being too much. Children in these environments learn a cruel lesson, that visibility equals vulnerability equals pain. So they develop what psychologists call self-silencing, a pattern where you suppress your own needs, thoughts, and feelings to maintain relational safety. You become an expert at reading the room, at adapting, at disappearing just enough to keep the peace. This pattern doesn't vanish when you grow up. It migrates. It finds new stages to hide from. And social media, with its endless audience and permanent record, becomes the ultimate test of a wound you didn't know was still bleeding. Every time you think about posting, that old alarm system activates. What if they don't like it? What if it's not interesting enough? What if I'm too much or not enough or just wrong somehow? So you retreat, you watch, you perform the ultimate vanishing act in an age of constant self-broadcast. There's also shame, quiet and persistent, not the loud kind that makes you want to defend yourself, but the subtle kind that whispers, you're not worth the space you'd take up. Shame tells you that your thoughts aren't original enough, your photos aren't aesthetic enough, your life isn't curated enough. It convinces you that everyone else has figured out the secret language of online existence, and you're still stumbling over the grammar, so you stay silent, believing that silence is safer than the risk of being exposed as somehow insufficient. And here's what's insidious. Every time you choose silence, you reinforce the pattern. Every time you type something and delete it, you teach your brain that hiding is the right response. This is how learned helplessness works. You begin to believe you genuinely don't have anything to say, that you're just not the kind of person who posts, when really, You're the kind of person who's learned that staying invisible hurts less than being seen. But let me show you what's happening underneath. Picture a moment. You're at dinner with friends and someone takes a group photo. Everyone's smiling. Someone posts it immediately, tags everyone. You see the notification. Your face is there, captured, public. And instead of feeling happy, you feel a spike of anxiety. You check the photo obsessively. Is your smile weird? Do you look okay? Should you untag yourself? This isn't vanity. This is a nervous system that associates visibility with threat. Your body is trying to protect you from a danger that doesn't actually exist, but that once did, somewhere in your past. Or consider this. You have a thought, a genuine insight about something. For a moment you imagine posting it, then the thoughts flood in. What if someone argues with me? What if no one responds at all and it just sits there? Proof that I don't matter. What if people think I'm pretentious or stupid or trying too hard, so you keep it to yourself? And that thought, which might have connected you to someone else who needed to hear it, dissolves into the private silence of your mind. The cost of this pattern is real. It's not just about social media, it's about how you show up in the world. When you learn to silence yourself online, you practice silencing yourself everywhere. In meetings, you don't share your ideas. In relationships, you don't voice your needs. In your own life, you become a spectator, watching everyone else live boldly while you remain in the careful, controlled shadows. You become so good at hiding that you forget what it feels like to be found. And the loneliest part? No one knows you're struggling. Because people who don't post just seem private, independent, above it all. No one sees the internal war, the paralysis, the shame, the way you draft and delete, training yourself in invisibility. You're suffering in a way that's socially acceptable, even admirable, and that makes it even harder to reach for help. You can recognize this pattern in others if you look closely. They're the ones who are always supportive in private messages but never in public comments. They'll text you about your post but never engage where others can see. They have accounts that exist but feel abandoned, like digital ghost towns. And when you ask them why they don't post, they deflect. They say they're too busy, too private, too uninterested. But their eyes tell a different story. They're protecting something tender. And maybe, just maybe, you recognize yourself in this. Maybe you've been telling yourself it doesn't matter, that social media is shallow anyway, that you're above the need for external validation. But underneath those rational explanations, there's a truth you've been avoiding. You want to be seen. You want to share. You want to show up fully in your life. But something inside you is terrified that if you do, you'll be rejected, dismissed, or worse, ignored entirely. So you've built a fortress of silence and called it preference. So let me ask you some questions, not to judge, but to illuminate. Sit with these. Let them reveal what needs to be seen. Do you find yourself writing posts, comments, or messages and then deleting them before anyone sees? What are you really afraid will happen if you press send? When you see others posting freely about their lives, do you feel judgment toward them? Or does it trigger something deeper in you? What is that feeling really about? Can you remember a time, perhaps in childhood, when expressing yourself led to pain, criticism, or rejection? How might that memory still be shaping your choices today? If you imagine posting something authentic right now, something true about your life or thoughts, what emotions come up? Fear, shame, excitement. What is your body telling you? Do you believe deep down that your thoughts and experiences matter, that they're worth sharing? Or have you convinced yourself that staying small is somehow more noble? When was the last time you let yourself be truly seen, online or offline, without filtering or performing or protecting? What would it take for you to do that again? If you could speak to the part of yourself that stays hidden, what would it want you to know? What has it been protecting you from all this time? Here's what I want you to understand. Healing this pattern doesn't mean you have to become someone who posts constantly. It's not about performing or proving anything. It's about reclaiming your right to exist visibly in the world without apology. It's about recognizing that the danger your nervous system is responding to is in the past, not the present. That you are not that powerless child anymore. That your voice, your presence, your ordinary, beautiful life is worthy of space. Start small. Post something low stakes, a thought, a photo of your coffee, something that matters to you but doesn't feel like you're carving your heart out of your chest. Notice what happens in your body. Breathe through the discomfort. Remind yourself that visibility is not dangerous, that being seen is how we connect, that your story, messy and imperfect as it is, belongs in the world. And if someone you love struggles with this, be gentle. Don't pressure them to post. Instead, tell them you see them, that their silence doesn't make them invisible to you, that they matter, online or offline. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give someone is letting them know they're already enough, exactly as they are. You don't owe the world your presence on social media, but you owe yourself the freedom to choose visibility without terror. You deserve to take up space, to share your truth, to exist loudly or quietly, or anywhere in between, without the weight of old wounds deciding for you. Your silence has protected you, but maybe, just maybe, it's time to see what happens when you let yourself be heard. You are not too much. You are not too little. You are not unworthy of being seen. And the world, strange and noisy as it is waiting for whatever it is you have to say. Not because you have to perform or impress, but because your existence, in all its unfiltered truth, matters. It always has.